This one's going to be about sports, and it is going to be about athletes making a lot of money and people being pissed about that. And it's going to be about something like that. So yeah, there's going to be more of that. The intro as always. And I'm really looking forward to recording this episode because the talking part today is like insanely good. And I, by the way, hope that this is also going to be the case for my oral exams that I'm going to have in like, it's actually not such a far way or path till then. It might be, I don't know, 5 months. Well, it's not half a year. It's like 3 months, 2 months, something like that. So it's not that much of time. Well, I think it is actually 4 months or something. Could be. Not quite sure. But it is some time, not a lot of time. But yeah, I really do hope that it is also going to be the case till then. And I still don't know when I'm good at talking and when I'm not good at talking, which is quite interesting that I don't know that. But yeah, before we even go through the episode, there's a few things that I'm going to talk about, like the podcast and the YouTube link is going to be down in the description. So if you want to be on either of these things because you are on the vice versa thing or on the opposite thing, even though it is not the opposite, kinda, then please check out the links in the description. The next thing is the notes. As you're then going to see, I'm going to highlight certain parts in this article that I'm going to go through that I think are important, and therefore we are... they are going to be, or these things, or these highlights are going to be in this notes PDF that is down in the description. It is a link to a Google Drive folder. You can download it and print it and read it and do whatever with it. And it is basically like a summary of this whole episode, which is amazing. The last thing is the music. If you're just willing to have any kind of music in your fucking, well, not actually any kind, but if you're willing to have some music in the background of this video and or the podcast, then please check out the third link and last link. But yeah, let's actually go through this article. The highest paid athlete at Super Bowl, I can't read Roman numbers. It is LIV. V is 5, this is what I know. Is it 2020? Would that make sense? But it wouldn't make sense. Is L 100? Can I just look that up? LIV. The Regimental Land System Light Infantry Vehicle for Special Operations, or LIV, is a German light armored utility vehicle developed from the Mercedes-Benz G-Class. It is also known by the name several Wolf and HEF. As the name implies, the LIV is designed specifically for use by Special Operations Forces and has light armor, high mobility, and high firepower. It was developed, and 2021 and 21 were produced by the German Army for the KSK Special Forces in 2004. And by the way, it is not about Super Bowl, but it is actually like a pretty fucking huge thing. Not in terms of huge, but in terms of hugely amazing. Or something. But yeah, San Francisco 49ers quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo with the number 10 eludes Washington Redskins defensive end Matthew Ioannidis, 98, at the Washington Post. Looks like the San Francisco 49ers record-breaking contract with one of its star players is paying off. CNBC Make It used data from sports contract website SportTrack to find the 2019 to 2020 average salary for each player on the 49ers and Kansas City Chiefs, who are competing in Super Bowl, which by the way is something that I'm gonna highlight it by the way, which is something that I really appreciate. That when I'm thinking and talking about football, then it is actually the case that some teams are actually having higher chances of just being in a Super Bowl and also winning a Super Bowl. But in the end, it is actually the case that every year that there's going to be something different in the finals. Kinda. Not always. Kinda. And I really appreciate that because I didn't know. And I'm really not super into just football. I don't even know the rules. I played a little bit of flag football just, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that. Like, it's only been like one tournament that I've had with school, and therefore with also been training. It is actually a cool sport in terms of flag football. I don't know what real football is like, but I think it is also a pretty cool sport. Even though like a lot of Europeans are like, especially I'd say like Germany, Austria, France, Switzerland and whatnot, they're going to be like, well, even though Germany is like more into football than I think we are, but a lot of people, just because we're so used to soccer, which is not such a heavy sport, I'd say, I would just say that a lot of people are going to be like, well, it is such a tough sport and it is like amazing that they're just fighting and they're just, basically killing each other and whatnot. Like, yeah, still, I think it is amazing that it is so diversified, that there's going to be this team in the finals and there's going to be that team in the finals, and it is just finals, and it is amazing. I like that and I appreciate that. So yeah. The highest paid player in this year's Super Bowl is 49ers quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo, whose average annual salary is an astounding $27.5 million. Well, and it is also something that quite a lot of people are not concerned about, but they're complaining about that athletes are just getting so much paid, that they're having so much money, that they're just rich as fuck and whatnot. But I do have to say, I don't know what it is like in football, but when we talk about soccer, some players might be 40. And this is like insane if you're 40 and playing. Let's talk about just a corporate job. You're gonna work till you're fucking 60 or maybe even 70, 80. It depends on where you're living, depends on whatever you're doing and whatnot. So you're not gonna be able to play football, I guess. I don't know what the oldest football player actually is. Oldest football player. I assume. I'm gonna see. Miura. Miura is recognized by Guinness World Records as... Oh, it is... I just wanted to have not soccer, but he's 50. Who bowed out of the sport at 50. Oldest football player. American football. Oh my god. It actually pisses me off quite a little bit that there's like soccer and football, and that some people think that football is soccer, but for me football is football, so American football, NFL. George Frederick, and I'm actually going to show you, George Frederick Blanda, September 1927 to September 27th, 2010, so he died, rest in peace, was an American football quarterback and place kicker who played professionally in American football, AFL and National Football League. Well, thank you. Blanda retired from pro football in August 1976 as the oldest player to ever play at the age of 48. The oldest active NFL players, update 2019. Maybe quickly, 39. I mean, like 39 still counts as fucking old. You have to think about that. You really have to think about that. Let's actually see. Matt Brains, 43, which is actually quite old to be honest. 44, Phil Donson, and Adam Vinatieri, who is 46 years old. I mean, like that, they are quite old. They are quite old, you know, not gonna lie. But I mean, like, you're able to just do the sport for, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 years or something, professionally, so not just whatever. And I don't know. And I also think like there's a lot of, especially when we are talking about football, there's some dangers. Actually, in every sport, you can hurt yourself quite a bit. There's a lot of dangers. There are sponsors, and especially, which is I think the hugest part, there's people that are watching it. As long as there are people that are watching the sport, there's going to be quite some money in the sport. Because I don't know, if you want to watch your favorite team playing, okay, just pay $40 or $70 or $100. And people are going to do that because they are watching a sport, because it is quote unquote culture. Maybe it is actually culture without the quote unquote. And like, it is something to think about. You know, they are getting paid a lot because there's a lot of people that are watching the sport, that are interested in the sport, and they love the sport. So yeah, I mean, it then just makes sense, kinda. And there's also merchandising, and there's also like sponsors, because other firms and other companies are also interested in that, since a lot of people are watching it, that they can advertise it. So this is actually kind of a chain reaction, kind of a circle of money that far surpassed the highest paid player in last year's game, Rams defense tackle Aaron Donald, who earned an average annual salary of $22.5 million during the 18-19 season, which is still a lot. Like, it is still a lot. Chief defensive end Frank Clark is the Super Bowler, earning the highest average salary this year after Garoppolo at $28 million per sport track. Also gonna highlight this one. Meanwhile, Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes, who was drafted in 2017, is a steal from Kansas City with an average salary of $4.1 million, at least until he signs a new contract extension. I mean, like, this is still a lot. You can have a pretty good life if you're earning $4.1 million a year, which is going to be 4.1 divided by 12. It's going to be 300K, 3,500K per month, which I think is quite enough. Meanwhile, Chiefs quarterback, I'm also going to highlight that the 20-year-old Garoppolo signed a record 5-year, $137.5 million contract. He's 28. You have to think about it. You're making, in 5 years, $137.5 million. I don't know if it is net. Could be. I don't know. with the 49ers in 2018 with 75 million guaranteed. Unlike other professional sports leagues, NFL contracts are not fully guaranteed. Oh, they can be guaranteed for 3 purposes: skill, a team's salary cap, and or injury. But I mean, which is I think the half quite, or exactly the half, 74 million, it is still a lot. You can have a pretty good life with 75 million in 5 years, which is like, I'm very sorry if I'm just, which is like 15 million a year. It is still quite a good salary, which is like more than 1 million a month. You're gonna have a pretty great life with more than 1 million in a month. I do not want to highlight everything. This is kind of my problem there, because I do not just want it to be too much and whatnot. But yeah, so Mike Garafolo said, what is happening? The 49ers and quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo have agreed to 5-year, he's just whatever. An NFL player's earnings depend on a variety of factors, including their base contract, NFL salary caps, bonuses, performance incentives, and endorsement deals. So while Garoppolo's contract averages 27.5 million per year, what he actually earns in a given year varies. The top earning players, like, of course, there's a lot of factors, especially if you're also just sponsored and whatnot, which is something I assume a lot of people are also kind of pissed about. Like, okay, they are just earning such a lot of money and they're still sponsored by major brands and they're getting all these things for fucking free. It is what it is. Just be an athlete and don't fucking complain about that. The top earning NFL players in 2020. Despite his record-breaking contract, Garoppolo comes in 8th in the league in an average pay this year. Here are the other top earners this year. I think just including everything, isn't it? The first one is Seattle Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson with 45 million. Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger, whatever, with 34 million. Tight Green Bay Packers Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers, Los Angeles Rams quarterback Jared Goff, 33.5 million. Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz, 32 million. Atlanta Falcons quarterback Matt Ryan with 30 million. And Minnesota Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins with 28 million. I'm also going to include that. If the 49ers wins, Garoppolo can expect a bonus payday. Sunday's champs will take home an additional $124,000 each per the NFL's collective bargain agreement. And I've actually been talking about it before. I think it's been definitely last year. But they're just, and I think it is good that they're earning more. Aren't these the Cardinals? Yeah, they are the Cardinals. I knew that, just by the logo. I'm good. Still, I think it makes sense that they are just earning more because of just winning something. Which is, I think, also the case, as far as I know at least, it's also the case with the Champions League when soccer clubs win the Champions League, which is besides, they're saying it is the most difficult league, even though it is not really a league, it is a big tournament, I'd say, kinda. But I don't know, I'm really not good at just those things. I'm not really I don't know the recent news about sports and these things. It's just not what I know. But the thing is, I think they're earning quite a lot if they're winning the Champions League. As far as I know, I think it is just more than $1 million per team, of course. But in the end, it's going to turn out there's, I don't know if it is 22 people, there's 11 people on the field, and there's staff, and there's the other players. What are they called? Those that you can just exchange with just the main players, kind of. I don't know what they're called. But yeah, but in the end, they're gonna make quite some money. And I think it's actually kind of I don't know a reason, but I think it then just also makes sense that a lot of sportsmen are actually having quite some cool clothes and some fresh cars and whatnot. But even though, I'm always then thinking well, you're not always gonna be an athlete. You're gonna have to retire. Of course, you're just also to make, just also able to make some money when you're older. You're then just gonna transfer to another league. You're gonna be in a little bit of a worse league, but you're still gonna make quite some money and probably more money than just a lot of corporate job or corporate workers and all those things. You're still gonna make a lot of money, and you're just able to do whatever you love to do, unless you're actually injured in something. But you can then be a trainer or a coach. Yeah. Could and or sponsor these, I don't know, talk about David Beckham. Like, he retired relatively early. At David Beckham net worth. I wonder, he's either having quite a low net worth. David Beckham net worth 450 million. But I gotta have to say, like, he's a pretty good entrepreneur, you know? Since there's like perfumes, there's like shower gels, and there's like just everything. There's everything. Source of wealth, professional soccer player. Wouldn't say so. Like, at this point in time, he's just doing way more with whatever. Career. Beckham began his football career by becoming a part of the legendary class of '92 youth players at Manchester United, as he helped the club win the FA Youth Cup. In 1992, Beckham made his debut for the senior team, and in January of the following year, he signed his first professional contract with Manchester United. As of 2020, David Beckham's net worth is 450 blah blah blah. He retired from professional football at the end of 2013, so actually played for quite a lot. The following year, Beckham bought an MLS companion team for 25 million. Expansion team. Well, yeah. But let's see, like, he ended in 2013, which is 7 years ago, and he started playing professionally in 1993, which makes it 10 years, 20 years. Yes, 20 years. Like, it is something, but it is not a lot. Like, 20 years are gonna just pass by relatively quickly. Here are some of the highlights of David Beckham's career. He's the first English player to win the league titles in 4 countries: England, Spain, the United States, and France. England Player of the Year 2003 and Teen Choice Award 2010, and he won Choice Male Athlete, which is amazing. And he looks pretty great, I have to admit that. And there's actually quite some, like, 3 lessons from David Beckham about success. But yeah, I think that this episode is gonna end here. It's been a blast. It's been an amazing time, and I'm gonna see you the next time. So I wish you the best health, happiness, and all success, and also hope that you're gonna remind yourself when you're gonna be remembered. Which basically means you're lazy, which basically means just being a nice person and being remembered as a nice person. With that being said, I'm hopefully gonna see you the next time. And 3 other questions are: why are you here? What are you trying to change, and what is bothering you the most? Ask yourself these questions. They are important. I'll see you.